Hey everyone, Mr. Happy here, and welcome to Mondays with Mr. Happy, aka Mr. Happy Mondays, the weekly Q&A show where you ask me questions and I answer them. Taking it a little bit easy on videos right now. I'm on the cusp of finishing my move, plus I'm actually going to be taking some personal days next weekend. So I've just been trying to take care of a bunch of stuff on my end. I'm organizing the new place, making sure everything's over there, kind of just planning out. It's not a whole lot, honestly, for me to move, but while I'm there, I start to like plan out how things are going to be and measure the space, and I've just been taking care of a bunch of stuff on my end, but I've actually got a bunch of videos loaded up and ready to go. I've got a Final Fantasy IV overview review style videos. I've got more of those retrospectives already recorded. I've got the raid rankings. I've actually got like 2 or 3 weeks worth of videos already recorded. Some of them uploaded and ready to go, but I haven't uploaded them yet. I'm probably going to upload some of them this week, maybe some of them next week, but I'm just kind of spreading things out at the moment because right now I'm taking care of me above all else. Not to mention, over on the Twitch side of things, it's Final Fantasy XI time and count up, and I've had to do so many long hours just to make sure I can get through it in a timely fashion, especially when people were changing my jobs constantly. So, oh, what a time. What a time. Anyway, I'm going to make this a quick one. Apologies if the answers are short, but I wanted to do a little bit of an intro, so I knew that would cut into the time a little bit. Before we get started with the Q&A, 2 things I actually still need to say. 1, thank you to our sponsors over on Patreon for supporting. You don't have to. All my content is available for free here on YouTube, but if you do want to support extra, that's always an option. Super thanks are always an option, but by no means are they expected. I just call them out all the time. Number 2, next week's Q&A, because I'm taking personal days next weekend, I won't even be recording my Q&A on Sunday. I'm recording it on Friday to be uploaded on Monday. That's really the only option. It's that or I skip next week's Q&A altogether. So if you have a question, put it in the comment section before Friday. If it's not there before Friday afternoonish, then I will not be answering it for next week's episodes. I almost forgot to mention that because I just went right from live stream to here. Glad that I remembered it anyway. Anyway, let's get into the questions Q&A. It's been a long day. Let's get started. Hashtag Mr. Happy Monday. Lolly, I hope your move is going all right. Ho. Yeah, it is. I mean, most of my stuff is over there. I'm just organizing what's there. I've had to get a few pieces of furniture to make sure I can store things. And honestly, I still need a few more. But I'm waiting now. I have an official move day, by the way. It is May 1st. So that is a Monday. So it means I'll record my Q&A. Behind me will be largely empty that day. And the next Q&A after that will be from the new place. While I know we are unlikely to get an entirely new playable race, how likely do you think it is for the devs to give each race an additional clan sub-race? Super unlikely. Any changes they make to the login screen, or I'm sorry, the character creation screen, is apparently a huge hurdle to overcome. And so adding a whole new clan or sub-race to them is probably about the same amount of work as adding an actual new race, especially on the back-end side of things. Not to mention the amount of lore that needs to be written that has been completely ignored. That would have to, you know how many things that have to retcon to suddenly have a third clan or sub-race in all of the lore? Like to just not have that for 10 years of the game's development and then to add one. I know some people would think, oh, maybe we would find one on another shard, but you gotta remember, you're starting the game from scratch. So that still requires a lot of work to get it kind of up to date and functioning within the lore of the world, because that would mean they need to travel from their shard to our shard, and that's been established as not a big thing that can really happen. So from a lore perspective, I would say no, but also from a back-end technology perspective, I'd also say no. Hashtag Mondays with the Happy Mister. Hey Haps, hi. I was the Kingdom Hearts question from last week, and I have to say I completely agree with you. I met my best friend through Kingdom Hearts, and 3 was the biggest disappointment I've had the misfortune to play. Anyway, what alliance raid do you want to see in the next expansion? I'd love more 14 exclusive lore in the raids, but I doubt they'll continue. I do think the next 24-man raid will not be original. I think it will pull from another game in the series. Honestly, I kind of have to keep the idea of a Final Fantasy XI themed raid in the back of my head. They seemed to be very skittish when mentioning Vana'diel as having elements of it showing up or referencing it. No, I don't. The whole 11's a shard thing has been debunked and like all that stuff. And I think just elements of Vana'diel or something inspired by Vana'diel, I think is coming in the next 24-man. But if it's not there, I think it's just going to be in the general lore of one of the places that we're going. So I agree. I don't think they'll do another 14 original raid, but that is actually what I would prefer. I much prefer when they go down that route, make something its own. Even if it pulls from something else, like Ivalice did, or the Crystal Tower did. I just don't want another Nier. You know what? All I'm saying is don't do the Nier raids again. Do anything else, and I'll be okay. Don't do anything like the Nier raids again, please. Hashtag Mondays with Mr. Happy. Hi, Haps. Hi, I hope you're doing well. Thanks, same to you. Long-time watcher, first-time asker. Welcome. Maybe not so easy, but what's your favorite question? Huh? Oh, I understand. I wonder if you have a favorite zone in 14, maybe one from every expansion. Honestly, whenever the first zone that comes to mind when I hear this question is always the Azim Steppe. I'm a huge fan of the Calm Lands in Final Fantasy X. I like the areas that are wide and open, and it almost seems like meaninglessly open. Like it's more like it's just a vast landscape for the sake of being a vast landscape. But when I think of like standing on a vista and looking out into the distance, not the functional use of it in the game, that's the kind of thing I like, as opposed to lots of little tiny cramped spaces and lush vegetation. That's always less attractive to me. So Azim Steppe always comes to mind when I think of a favorite zone. So that's my answer. Hashtag Mr. Happy Mondays. Hey Haps, hi, hope all's going well. I could say it is. Seen a lot of people ask when they're going to show off the mini games for Final Fantasy 16, but I was under the impression we weren't getting any. I was under that same impression. Do you remember them mentioning anything about that, and how would you feel if they left mini games out of this entry entirely? I'd be very grateful. I think they're going to focus on content, not mini games, because I've been playing through the entire franchise again. There are so many annoying mini games across the Final Fantasy franchise, especially from the PlayStation 1 era on. And not many of them are very creative or interesting. Like, yeah, you've got a few winners like Triple Triad, or... So you got Triple Triad. There's so much tedium and bogged downness, and like, you can tell that like a lot of them aren't given enough attention to be made good. They're made there. I can't think of how else to put it. So yeah, no, I would prefer them to focus solely on content and not on mini games at all. And they've given us the impression that that's all they're doing. So I don't know where I think people just want there to be mini games, but I don't. So glad to see I haven't seen any yet. Hashtag Mondays with Mr. Happy. Hello, hello. Hi. Got a question that sprung into my mind while doing my tribal quest. A major part of the Loppert story is in regards to them needing something to do now that they have no one from the planet, now that no one from the planet is coming. But I thought I remembered from the climax at the role quest that any Garleans who weren't willing to be accepted into Sharlayan might instead find a new home on the moon until such a time that they could survive on their own again. Am I misremembering something? If there's anyone that could possibly need help of counseling, I would think it would be the Garleans. You know, it's been so long, I honestly don't remember it, but that kind of rings a bell to me. But I don't think that necessarily gives the Lopperts purpose, because you gotta remember, their purpose was to shepherd an entire planet to another star. Some wayward Garleans would be at most a minor distraction, probably to the point where the ones that were assisting the Garleans would be so desperate to like fulfill their role, they'd probably scare the Garleans back to the planet. I wouldn't even be surprised. But yeah, I don't remember exactly. But either way, I don't think that would be enough to make the Lopperts feel like they had purpose again. Hashtag Mr. Happy Monday. Hey Haps, Mr. Smallbeard. Hey, hope you're doing all right. I'm doing well. You doing well? I'm doing well. What's your plan regarding the next Savage tier? Who are you going to raid with? I've got a friend putting together a team right now. I'll either be playing Caster or Fizz Ranged, and I'm just looking to be done in week 1. That's it. I don't want anything too crazy. I like to go hardcore, but honestly, the last 2 tiers have just been like... Honestly, since DSR, it's just been like, bro, I just want to fucking clear and not play right now. That's how I felt. There's just so much of everything that I'm just like, ugh, just let's get it done and move on. So yeah, I have a group that's forming, and hopefully we'll just get it done in a few days, and thumbs up will be good. Upload to YouTube and honky dory. Hashtag Aloha and Ivy Mondays. Ivy's chilling right here. I got to post some of the pictures I've taken of her today. Hey, Haps. Hi. I'm a dancer main, and a few weeks ago, my static started progging P8S. Nice. But to preserve time for the session, we started doing a 5-second countdown. Oh, I've had to get used to that a lot on Dancer. So I want to ask you what you do with standard step alignment in a situation like this. Cry. That's it. So the big thing you have to get used to doing is understanding how much time is left in a buff when you go to press standard step. If there's not enough time to finish a standard step in buffs, you push it back a GCD or two. It's annoying to do. It makes it drift even more. Eventually, it almost kind of drifts back into being in the right spot after a couple of them. But the big thing is you can only do that a couple of times before you start losing standard steps. But it really becomes your like only logical option because standard steps potency is not as insane as it used to be compared to everything else. So it somewhat does depend on the GCDs that are available at the time. But a lot of the times it's a choice between doing a standard step with not enough time left or doing like a saber dance, and the saber dance is going to win in that case. So that just becomes what your alternative is. You just have to look at your cooldown times and figure out which one is the right choice. Hashtag Mondays with Mr. Happy. Hi, Mr. Happy. Hi. I hope you're doing well and that move of yours is going well. Thank you. Been watching for a long time. This is your first question. Nice. Been having an issue with the rework shifting of Paladin's rotation. I was playing the class for a rather large portion of my playtime, and I'm struggling to get back into it since I'll be honest. I hate how the new Paladin feels in comparison to how it used to be in Savage content. Do you know of any classes in the game that would feel similar to how Paladin played in patches past? No, because Paladin's optimization in patches past was very toxic. The only job that kind of had other really weird alignment was Dragoon. And Dragoon still sometimes has that issue, but definitely not anymore. That was kind of what was the main issue, the main crux of Paladin they were trying to fix in the first place, is damage optimization was really weird before. Now, you can still kind of do some weird stuff with it now, but you really don't need to. The difference is negligible between filling 3 of your GCDs in with whatever you have versus trying to spend the time setting up the perfect GCD in order to get the completely perfect rotation, the completely perfect burst window. But I couldn't possibly list anything that was as clunky to optimize as old Paladin. So no, I don't have a recommendation. Hashtag Mr. Happy Mondays. Hello, Mr. Happy. Hi, hope you're doing well. Same. My question for you this week is across all Final Fantasy games in the franchise and other places where it makes an appearance, which game do you think has the best rendition of the main theme? I love 10's. 10's main theme, like the really fast-paced one that they do at the start of the game, Also, even though 13's doesn't really sound like the prelude, I really do like the way that it sounds. But I think Final Fantasy X's prelude has got to be my personal favorite. Hashtag Mr. Happy Mondays. Hey, Mr. Happy. Hi. Hope you're doing well. Good enough. This time I put the hashtag at the top for the post for the small quality of life improvement, as last time I put it at the bottom. It does help. Hey, I still got it last time though. I've been raiding on White Mage for over 2 years now. I wanted to switch job as a challenge. I've been playing a lot with Ninja and have found the class extremely fun to play. What preparations do you recommend before raiding on that class that I should do? Ninja is so important to master your 1 and 2 minute burst windows. Now I know that's true for every job, but for Ninja, the difference between a well-performed 1 and 2 minute versus a not well-performed one is monstrous. Like making sure you know when to press Kasatsu and making sure you understand to use your ninjutsu and to use your what are they called? Your Raijus and whatnot. Like understanding that core element is more important than anything else. Because flowing between your 2 minutes, there's not a lot of like GCD prep, like, oh, I need to make sure I do this exact order of GCDs and I want to make sure that I end on this. And it's like, it's kind of there, but realistically what will boil down to is you will press 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then occasionally 1, 2, 4 for Armor Crush. And that's like all you'll do between burst windows. So it's like ultra easy to like dead brain for that kind of stuff. But your burst windows are incredibly APM heavy, even if the overall actions aren't that difficult to perform. So I would say getting those down in particular and how they feel across an encounter is more important than anything. Hashtag Mondays with Mr. Happy. Hey, Mr. Happy. Hi, how are you? I'm doing all right. You doing all right? I'm doing all right. I recently started playing after a 5+ year hiatus. There's lots of content for me to do now, so I'd love to hear your thoughts on how I should think about doing things. Thinking of prioritizing the story, would love to get to ultimates, but there's a lot to do. I mean, the story is always top priority. You can't even do anything else that's new until you do the story. So that's always top priority. Other than that, I mean, it sounds like you don't need my advice. It sounds like you have an idea of what you want to do, and that's all Final Fantasy XIV is. You just do what you want to do. You just have to do the story. You have no choice but to do the story. But other than that, you can choose what to do, what not to do, and there's no right or wrong. There's just what you're choosing to do. So, and as for communities to plug, I don't really have any answers because everything's through fucking Discords nowadays. Because that's it. Everyone's like, join my Discord, join my Discord, join my Discord. Oh, and I can't stand it. So join some Discords. Hashtag Mr. Happy Mondays. Well met, Mr. Happy. Hi. What was your favorite game that came out in 2022? What came out in 2022? I know some things, but there's definitely others. Harvestella. That's probably not the right answer for me. There's probably something else, but I'm gonna go Harvestella because that game was way better than it had any right being. Hashtag Mr. Happy Mondays. Hello and good afternoon, Haps. Hello. There's one thing from Final Fantasy X that I'm really hoping. Don't say it. Okay, it's not Blitzball, but Sin. We have Bismarck. I am surprised he has yet to appear in some fashion thinking an appropriate threat. Because we have Bismarck. They're both just giant whales. Like, yeah, I understand there's a functional difference between what Sin is and what Bismarck is. But they're both giant whales. And I don't think they're ever going to do another giant whale. So, I don't think you'll ever see Sin or Yevon in this game. Hashtag Mr. Happy Mondays. Hello, Mr. Happy. Hi. I'm personally a big fan of the idea of a pirate corsair job as a one-handed axe job with gun skills incorporated. Would easily main one, but only if it turns out to be a tank. You know, I've said that whenever somebody says, do you think they'll ever do a ranged tank? I'm like, that doesn't happen in this game because the monster will always walk up to your face unless it's a boss that stands still, in which case, who cares if you're standing at range? You get next to the party. Get over here. Don't be that person who stands out in West Bumblefuck. Just get in the party. But I have said that if they really want to do a, quote, ranged tank, just give them like a sword and a gun. I've actually said this exact thing. Like, if people really want that fantasy of being a gun-based tank, then something like a one-handed sword and a gun has made the most sense to me. So, yeah, I mean, this is one of those questions that there's no answer to it. Like, yeah, I've thought of this, I've suggested, but I guess when I get questions like this, my question back to you is, what validation do I give for a question like this? Like, nothing I say helps determine or make this happen or make it more of a reality or make it more valid of an idea or make it less valid of an idea. So I never understand these things. Like, when people talk about like, oh, I had this idea for this, I'm like, oh, that's cool. But when it's like my thoughts on it, it's like I don't find my thoughts valuable because they don't mean anything. Because everyone has ideas of like a job. Like, I want Puppet Master, and some other person wants Geomancer, and some other person wants I don't know. They want sketch. They want artist. Like, it's just like everyone just has ideas and thoughts and wants and desire. And I don't feel like asking someone for how they feel about an implementation or an inclusion has any relevance about. Well, it just doesn't have any relevance because it doesn't invalidate one person's thought. Or like, I could say, no, that's dumb. They would never do it. Like, what if I say that, you know? Does that make you not think it's going to happen? That's why these questions are always difficult for me. And they make me, I ponder in my brain what the end goal is for it. You know what I mean? So that's what goes through my mind when I get questions like this, because I just don't understand it. Hashtag Mondays with Mr. Haps. Hi, Mr. Haps. Hi. Hope you're having a better than average year so far. Better than average? I don't know about that. Have one question I would like to hear your thoughts on. Do you think Square Enix will kill off any more of the Scions? I hate to say I hope so, but I hope so. I want another meaningful death scene. It feels like we haven't had one in a long time. And I mean a meaningful death scene. We've had deaths, but like we've come to the point where when somebody dies, nobody believes it. And I kind of don't want to feel that way anymore. So yeah, just kill them. That's it. Just kill more Scions. That's it. Whatever. And like really do it. Like, don't just bring them back later. Like, axe them. Hashtag Mr. Happy Mondays. Hey Haps. Hi. Do you think you'll do another 11 verse 14 video? I feel like when I first made that video, I made it totally that just dote over 14 as much as I had experience with 11. So a part of me kind of wants to do it again to actually explain some of the functional differences and not just make 14 seem like it was the better game, which is totally what my tone is in that video. But will I? I can't say that I will. I can only say that the thought has crossed my mind. And so maybe one day. Hashtag Mr. Happy Monday. Hey, Haps. Hi. Hi. You said it back. Look, post-Endwalker patch content has been pretty rough for a lot of people, though honestly, I myself have super enjoyed the content, so it doesn't feel great that a lot of people are ragging on the game. It's just the loud people. It's a lot of people who just play and don't really care. They just log in and have fun and like chat and just do whatever with roulettes and try. Like everyone, just don't listen to the loud. Don't listen to people like me. We complain because we can and we have an outlet to do it. But if you're having fun, who cares, right? I only really got to endgame in 5.35 though, so I asked my don't ask 1.0 people anything. That's another mistake. Don't do that. Felt like Drought has been as bad as Gordius in 5.2 and cover. They said it was pretty comparable, and I wanted to know what your thoughts are at the game. Yeah, I think it's not any worse than it's ever been. I think it's like completely within the pacing of what we've normally had in terms of droughts. I think, however, with the added couple of weeks on the patch, certain things they decide to do at certain points feel too slow. And so I think that it's less of what we have to do and more so the points at which they put it out. Like, we should have probably had the relic or any sort of actual relic before 5.25. And we should have stuff like Criterion before that, because the expansion launches and it's like the bare minimum. And then it's normal mode raids and then it's savage mode raids. And if you don't do those, then you're kind of sunk. Then 0.1 comes out and it's a bunch of easy stuff and an ultimate. But ultimate kind of dominates everything until the first 8 to 10 weeks are done. And then some of the other little stuff comes out. And it's like, I don't necessarily dislike or mind them spreading things out like that, but it feels like they haven't hit the right pacing for that. I'd rather have a longer period of time between like the 0.5 patch and the next full patch than have this 8 to 10 week wait for the 0.5 patch and then an 8 to 10 week wait for the actual, like, I don't want it to be perfectly split in the middle, because all that's doing for me personally is just, it makes me feel the drought twice. That's what it is, because I'll have that 8 to 10 week wait for the 0.5 patch for what I'm waiting for there, and then I'll have another one, as opposed to it being like 4 to 6 weeks, and I don't really have a drought getting to there, and then I have one drought after that. I don't know, maybe that's just me, but I would kind of prefer it to be more that way. And I think that's, with the added 2 weeks, that kind of feeling has bloomed from that delay, or from that new pacing, I suppose. Hashtag Mondays with Mr. Happy. I'm assuming that says konnichiwa or something, hello in some regard. In the live letter digest, apparently Yoshi P said there will be quality of life adjustments to Savage rewards, and tell them in the next producer live letter. What's a realistic change? Lower book for pants or chess piece? Yes. Also, I think they may have mentioned, I remember seeing some translations from the not Reddit Final Fantasy XIV translations, saying that they would talk about Savage Criterion in particular. Now, I haven't read the official digest, and I probably should, but those are the two things I want to see most. Please adjust them, make them better, make them more accessible. That would just be a huge, huge thing. So looking forward to that. Hashtag Mr. Happy Mondays. Hey, Haps. Hi. What are the thoughts on the emote team adding a few job skills to G poses? I mean, I've been waiting for Ring of Thorns emotes for ages. Not even just the G pose. Add them to freaking emotes. Well, I mean, since you're talking about the emote team, make a Ring of Thorns emote. Come on now. Everybody wants it. Give me a, what's it called? Also, the Rain of Arrows emote. Yeah, I mean, the answer is yes. It's my thoughts are irrelevant to this, similar to the other question. But yeah, do it. Come on. Hashtag Mr. Happy Monday. Hello, sir. Love your content. Thank you. 2023 is coming up, Mr. Happy, and I couldn't be happier. No, I'm happy. You can't be more happy. Stop. My question is regarding Extreme Savage lingo. I'm not in a static and just do PF all the time for Savage clears, and I watch videos so I know mechanics, but swear the lingo in PF doesn't always line up with the video guides. For example, Mario Kart Barbaricha. So there are some lingos that are not used in guides, but are commonly accepted by longtime players. Mario Kart usually means everyone stacks up and runs in a circle around the arena together. Mario Kart Oh, yeah. That makes sense. Okay. Yeah, that just means that you literally just all stack up and move together in a circle. That's what Mario Karting is. So that's something that, again, that's something you won't usually hear in a guide, but the community will adopt it because it's just something that's like from ages past. So I totally understand that. There is a recommended lingo thing. I think on the 14 Reddit, they have a full lingo page. I don't know if it would cover a situation as specific as this, but I'm pretty sure the 14, if somebody knows where that is, if it's on the official 14 Reddit or someplace else, I'm certain there is one. Hashtag Mr. Happy Mondays. Hello. Hi. How are you? Great. Couple questions. Cool. First, I recall Yoshi P saying they had something planned for 6.5 when discussing players concerned about a content level before 7.0. You remember correctly. What that is, who knows? While he could have meant a third variant dungeon, we know we're getting a third variant dungeon, so that's not even a surprise. Sounded like something additional. I thought the same thing. Any ideas? No. But he did say that. So you're not misremembering. So if nothing happens, we'll both be equally upset. An exploration zone is straight up copium. Yes, it is. Maybe a special savage tied to the variants. I thought about that. I thought about like a variant ultimate or a criterion ultimate. And the only reason I thought that, variant dungeons, or at least the first variant dungeon, has a secret boss at the end of all the paths when you finish the story for it. That boss isn't in criterion. So I thought to myself, what if they give us 3 variants, 3 criterions, the criterion savages, and then a bonus criterion ultimate that's the 3 secret bosses from variant? That's what I thought. It's still copium, but like that's the only thing that I could think of, to be honest. Second, when do you think Square Enix will re-release the 13 trilogy? Dude, I don't think we're ever going to see it. They have to at some point, you know? But the PS3 technology has made it so difficult and annoying. I don't know. I can't give an answer to that. I have no hope that's going to happen. Hashtag Mr. Happy Mondays. Hey, Haps. Hi. Hope the moving process is playing nice, for the most part. Just have one question for you regarding Dark Knight and Uwu and Ukab. I do not play Dark Knight, so this will be a potential disaster. Let's see. I just recently cleared Uwu for the first time with my static last week playing Paladin, and we want to jump into UCOB. I want to try and play Dark Knight for UCOB, but realize that it has one less party mitigation than the other tanks. Yes, that is one of the differences. Very, very recognizable difference. How much of UCOB relies on mitigation checks? Honestly, only Golden. And you don't need Paladin Mit for Golden. So I would say it's not a problem. Honestly, no, it just won't be a problem. That's it. Just play Dark Knight if you want to play Dark Knight. Go nuts. Hashtag Mondays with Mr. Happy. Greetings and salutations. Hi. Are there any types of jobs that mechanically you'd like to see added next? My answer is always Puppet Master. Not in terms of flavor or class. No, I don't care. The answer is still Puppet Master. Any playstyles you feel that are lacking? The Puppet Master one. For example, how they no longer have any real dot classes, and I know they are avoiding, but other playstyles you think 14 is missing. The Puppet Master one. The only thing I want is Puppet Master. I don't care what it is. Just give it to me. It doesn't matter. And yeah, here's the thing. I think dots are never coming back. I don't think they're ever going to do a dot-focused job ever again. They could prove me wrong. Great. But I don't think we're going to see new play styles. As the way I describe Final Fantasy XIV jobs is they all execute a similar result, and it's about the method to power that you get there. Like, what is the step-by-step to get to the point where your best damage comes out, or your best healing comes out, or your tanking skills come out? And I think that's always going to be something within a certain confine, but it should feel different than another job, especially at an intro level when a new player is picking it up, so they can determine how it feels to them and if it's something they like. This one didn't have a hashtag, but I saw it said @ so I stopped for you. I want you to know that. Hola, Haps. Bonito Domingo, lunes. I think that means happy Mr. Happy Mondays. Recently finished T and hola back. Finished T and got to P5 of top. That's very good. Notice that we were wiping to final word or beta calibration in Perfect Alexander, and I started to feel a little hopeless in terms of a clear. Thought maybe this isn't possible because some of the members were wiping to the same things. It was going backwards. We were progging to Sigma, and that feeling crept up again. That always happens when you are more confident in your own skills than other people's skills at the time. If you learn something faster than other people, you will always feel this way. It's unavoidable. And then you just kind of power through and accept that everybody learns at a different rate. Everyone has certain pros and cons. You know, they have certain strengths and weaknesses. You just have to accept it. That's all there is to it. Otherwise, you'll never be happy with any of the people that you raid with. I feel this way very often because there are mechanics that I find very easy. I thought Wormhole in T was a joke. Like the first time I saw it, I like broke it down and I was like, oh, okay. And I've never struggled with it. And I felt that way about a lot of top. It was like, oh, it's just simple, you know, look left, look right, go here, go there based on that. And it was like, it was super easy. And I was like, oh, this is like not stressful. It's still engaging for me, but it's not boring outside of the number of repetitions I have to do. And so, but so when other people mess it up, when I already feel that way about it, it's like, you kind of got to swallow your pride and be like, okay, it doesn't matter if I think it's easy. Everyone has to be on the same page. So I just got to be patient and wait for them. And that's all there is to it. You just got to learn to kind of put whatever kind of negative emotion you're feeling down and understand this isn't about you. This is about a team effort. And you got to do whatever you can to make sure everyone on the team can get through and is consistent. Doesn't matter what the effort has to be. You just got to do it. Hashtag Mr. Happy Mondays. There's a lot of questions this week. I'm trying to go fast and there's still a lot of questions. Hi, Haps, and hope you do an eye. 2 small questions. Sure. First, do you have any advice for someone with an aversion to PF desiring to get into ultimate, more hardcore Savage groups? Go to Discord first. Find UPR if you're on NA, which I think now covers all of the different data centers, and go there before going directly into PF. I think you'll have better results. 2, clearly unlocking the tier means SE understand it needs to be done at some point, but since they do it for one reason or another. My question is, why do you think they do not unlock the latest tombstone at the same time? I think they see the tombstone as something for more casual players to feel like they have a weekly goal towards, and less of a method of gearing for endgame players. So a lot of more casual players take that tombstone cap and they go, oh, I have something to do this week. Oh, let me work on capping my tomes. I'll do a few dungeons, get together with my friends, and maybe I'll buy a piece for this job. And less for people who are like, oh my God, I need to take this new job into Ultimate and I need 1,300 tomes and you know what I mean? So I think it's the target audience, but I think they need to consider that you don't only have one target audience for that. So maybe unlock it. All right, I've been talking for almost 12 hours straight between stream and this. I'm lightning rounding the rest of them. I apologize. Oh my goodness, the first one I clicked is insanely long. Let me see if I can find the question. Do you think it's a cool idea if they do themed or crossover events that do more than the usual quest line that lead to a fetch quest or like a mini trial? Nothing like the near raids. I hate the near raids. If you're going to go any further than just doing like a generic fetch quest, whatever, the Monster Hunter thing is as far as you should go. Do not cannibalize an expansion's worth of content or an entire patch's worth of expanding 14's world and its story to do a collaboration. I hate that. Don't ever do it again. Let's see. Then we have one here going to, let's see. Is leveling alt jobs through Bows of Jadnor still the most effective method of leveling alt jobs? It is, even all the way up to 90, but honestly 80 to 90 I wouldn't do it. It's aggravating to do it. I would just take my time, do dungeons, do roulettes, maybe do some Eureka Orthos now that that's around, do tribal quests, like just do a number of activities so you don't feel like you're bogged down in any one thing. But the answer is yes. From 71 to 80, it's insanely fast, but even then, if you want to stay sane, I wouldn't recommend sticking solely to it. Let's see. Sometimes when extreme savage difficulty comes out for a fight, I'll look at a certain mechanic in normal and just don't see them. Are there any mechanics in normal trials and raids you wish made it to extreme? The number one is always the sand maze from 03 normal, from Delta Escape 3. I wanted to see a savage version of the sand maze, and anytime I get this question, that is the first thing that pops up, so that is my number one answer. Currently visiting family on the East Coast, and we spent some time in Newark, New Jersey. I am so sorry. Being a native Jersey boy, what do you recommend to the average tourist? To leave. That's what I would recommend. Go to Long Branch for the beach, or go to New York. Go someplace else, because I don't recommend doing anything touristy in New Jersey. There are things. There's like maze, like corn mazes and stuff in some places, and there's some seasonal things, but it's like, no, just leave. So my recommendation is to leave. Let's see, Lolly Ho. We don't see any 11 expansion story summaries like 14 has, because it is so long to describe. I just finished replaying through Chains. I forgot how much filler and repeated facts there are in COP, because it was designed in such a way that they expected there to be wide gaps in time between the player doing one cutscene and doing another. So they feel this constant need to reiterate things like within every 4 or 5 cutscenes. It is an arduous task to summarize Final Fantasy XI story. Well, not Rise of Xylard, actually. Rise of Xylard is very easy because it's not a very good story. But all the ones after that, it is very complicated with lots of moving parts. that, I'm not saying 14 doesn't. I'm saying 14 tells those stories far more concisely and understandably than 11 does. So that's all there is to it. Let's see. What's this one? Overall impression. What is your overall impression of the more general gaming audience's reception of the 16 so far? I don't even need to what I see. I see so much love for it. I've seen so much love for it across social media, across Twitch, across you. It's the only people I see being negative are old Final Fantasy 11 heads. Where's my turn-based? And then I think one thing that speaks for itself, it's the highest selling game on Amazon right now, and it's not out yet. And I know that's not really a big tell, but it's very rare that a game that's not out is a highest seller on Amazon. That normally doesn't happen. So that's a pretty good tell. I have a feeling it's going to be 10 out of 10 across the board. It's not really. There's going to be issues people have with it. Let's be honest. There's always going to be issues people have with games. I think 10 out of 10s are bullshit ratings. But a 10 out of 10 can be personal. It's my 10 out of 10. But an actual 10 out of 10? Got one question. Which older RPG would you like to see remastered? Tactics. I'm still waiting on the Tactics remaster remake. I've been just looking through other Tactic games to sate my desire for a modern Tactics. So please, Tactics. And I know there's like a ton of other franchises out there I could name, but that's the one. That is the singular one. 6.4 is less than 2 months away. What are your predictions for the final tier? Athena's the final boss. There's going to be a Pandemonium Warden. The Heart of Sabika is going to show up. Athena's the final boss. And I don't think we're going to have any balance issues on this one either. Then we had, my question deals with Monk in a video I saw a month ago. Pretty much only uses Dragon Kick. Don't do the Dragon Kick only rotation. Don't do that. No, that was a thing because it's not that much of a loss, but don't do that. Was past tense is a thing, mind you. Played 14, but not much of the previous ones. Is Dynamis a reference to one of the older games? 11 has a zone called Dynamis. Functionally, nothing alike, mind you, but it's a term that gets used. So I guess that's as close as you can get to a reference. Any more talk about 14 on Xbox? No, because it's probably never going to happen because they'd have to put a lot of resources to make it happen on Xbox, and they probably won't. Not to mention, I'm not convinced Xbox wants resources put into things being put on Xbox. They just put everything on Windows now. Doesn't even matter. Let's see. People ask for Kingdom Hearts, talk about 1, 2, and 3 with an asterisk. 16 State of Play had a character named Vivian Ninetails who has a feature called State of the Realm. Oh boy, did I notice that. I'm so mad. I want royalties on that. Please. Okay, and that looks to be all of the questions under last week's episode. A little bit longer than I wanted to go, but hey, I did my best. There was a lot of questions, a lot of questions. So, with that, thank you for watching this week's episode of Mondays with Mr. Happy. Remember, if you have a question, it needs to be in before Friday in the afternoon, because that is when I'm going to record the next Q&A, and that will be out on Monday as per usual. With that, thank you for tuning in. Be sure to like, favorite, subscribe, and share, and I will see you in the next one. Until then, take care.